Hey everybody, hope you're all doing good. Just hanging out here with Elijah a little bit and down at the boat here. Just wanted to give you all a post-tournament wrap-up for the Arkansas River down there. It was a good week, a cool week for me down there. I was able to finish 13th in the tournament. Almost made the final day cut, missed it by 2 ounces. And I'm just sort of going to give you a little wrap-up of the week down there. But this particular tournament, it was the one I was sort of looking forward to all year long, because just of the fact that you have the option of getting into some really hard to reach places there. And that's the whole reason that I've got this aluminum boat this year, is I wanted to really sort of transform my fishing a little bit, go back to sort of the ways I used to fish, the old ways. And it's working out so far. Right now I'm in second place in the Bassmaster Open points after so far this season. So far so good as far as how the plan's going. I know we got a lot of fishing left, but it's been a pretty good start, and everything has come out of the aluminum boat here. Under $30,000 on top of that. So gonna give you a little update here on how the tournament went. I knew going in this tournament, like I said, I'd never fished this particular part of the Arkansas River before, but I knew a little bit about it. I'd fished cur a long time ago in some old redman tournaments, and I knew there was a lot of siltation on the river, and that meant that it would offer some opportunities just to get back into some hard to reach places. And that's really what I looked for this whole tournament, was to get back in those shallow, silted in areas that a lot of people couldn't reach. And the area that I wound up catching a lot of my fish in, I had to navigate a real shallow flat for a long way. And the fishing was sort of secondary to getting into this particular area. Once I got in the area and started fishing a little bit, I was catching a few fish, but nothing great. I mean, I was getting bit. But I fished in the Weber Fall Pool a couple days, and I just couldn't catch much up there. I caught a few here and there, but just not much at all. So I was pretty much committed to going down there to cur, because I felt that was my best option to have a high finish in the tournament. Problem you had with that is it was a long way down there. I've only got 30 gallons of gas in this boat, and you have to deal with a lock on top of that. But the real issue that we had this week was the fact that we had a 1 o'clock weigh-in, and there was only one guaranteed lock time. So basically, even if you were in the last flight, you had to, sorry, I stepped on his toy. You had to be back at the lock at 11:45 to have any type of a guaranteed chance to get back. So that means the area that I was fishing, I was only going to get 2 hours a day fishing time in it. So that doesn't sound like much at all, but if you can average like a bite every 15 or 20 minutes, you've got your 5 fish. And that was sort of the plan for me going in this tournament, is I felt that I needed to have an area that I had a chance to get a bite every 15 or 20 minutes. That's okay. Oops, stepping over his toys. And so I sort of felt that I could do this if everything went good. What I did do is I took the last day of practice we had, and really the last afternoon, and I really tried to figure how I could get in and out of this particular area, because the problem I had where I was fishing was the flat that you had to run across did not have stumps on it, but the creek I was fishing had stumps in it, and there was no way to plane out in that particular creek once you sat down off of the flat. So if I didn't plane out in the creek, I have to literally idle for probably another hour in order to get out of that creek, and there was no way that I could do that. So I spent the last day of practice looking for some options on how to get out of there. And I idled around. I found one little bitty area that was probably 20 foot long that didn't have any stumps in it. And I could plane out on that particular area and run across where I was fishing to get back in there. So that's how I got in and out of there. But like I said, I think that's one of the big advantages I had is I don't know. In fact, I don't know if I could access this particular area with a normal sized boat. So it really paid off to have this particular boat. Once I got in there, the fishing, like I said, you had 2 hours to fish, so you didn't have a lot of time to really, experiment or try different stuff. Most of my fish came either on flipping just a variety of Zoom soft plastics and a few shallow running megabass square bill crankbaits, just fishing around whatever wood cover that was in this particular area. But for me, like I said, the fishing part of it was sort of secondary to getting down there and having and basically making the run down there in this little boat with a 30-gallon tank, making it through the lock, getting back through the lock all the time, not hitting the stump. That was the biggest part of it. But right here, this was a big part of my success in this particular tournament, these power poles, because one of the things I did when I got into the air race fishing, it was super shallow. I turned off all of my electronics. I tried to keep my boat movements to a minimum, and I power poled down on a lot of the places I was fishing, and then I'd make multiple presentations to the wood cover. So that was a big part to play as far as those power poles going there. But one of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit here was this particular season, how everything's going. The Bassmaster Opens, man, this is like I said, I've always said it's one of the toughest circuits to succeed in, simply because you've got over 200 anglers in this tournament. There's no off limits on the practice, so you've got guys down there practicing for over a week a lot of times for these tournaments. Man, it's really noisy around here right now. Motorcycles and lawnmowers, geez. So it's a tremendous amount of competition. You've got over a dozen Elite Series guys in there. You have all these local guns. You've got all these FLW guys that came over. So to be in second place in the points, I really feel fortunate at this place, and I'm just going to really focus on, moving up every tournament. I know that there's such a fine line between doing well in these tournaments. I mean, that's what a lot of people don't understand, is you can look through the points list right now, the Bassmaster Opens, and the fact that I'm in second place right now, I could just as easily have been in the 100th place if it wasn't for just a few minute small decisions that had a huge impact on it. And I've been on the other end. I've been in situations where I've been 100th place in the points before, and I should have been leading the points if I would have just capitalized on the opportunities I had. But one story I'll tell you real quick here about this tournament, what I'm talking about when you're fishing good. This is the type of stuff that happens when you're fishing good. The second day of the tournament, we got down there, and I went through my primary stretch fishing, and you got to remember, you're on the clock. You've got literally 2 hours to fish, and then you're done for the day. So I go through my primary area, and I caught one. That was it, just a small keeper. So obviously there's a letdown, and I had another little stretch that I caught a few the first day of the tournament. And in order to get to the stretch, you had to idle for about 15 minutes to get through the creek. So I told my co-angler I was with me, I said, okay, put everything down, we're going to make about a 15 or 20 minute idle. And I turned around, I started idling out, and there was a couple little laydowns that I had not got a bite on, but they were just positioned perfectly in the creek that I hadn't fished. And I said, okay, hold on a second, I'm gonna hit this real quick. I pulled up to those particular two laydowns, and I caught 4 keepers in 5 casts on those 2 laydowns that I had not hit before. And if I hadn't just taken the time just to stop the motor, get up there and make a few casts just off that intuitive gut feeling, I may have only caught 1 fish that particular day and dropped way down in the points. Certainly not in, but anyway, came back in. Like I said, I locked back through into Weber's Falls both days. The first day I had 3.5 hours to fish once I locked back through. The second day I had an hour and a half to fish. I never had a bite either day once I locked back into Weber Falls. Everything I caught in this tournament was in like a 4-hour time frame, down in the curb pool. So got back in, and actually, I was in the first flight, and I sat there the entire tournament, and there was like 10 guys left to weigh in, and I was in 12th place, which is the last place they take to make the finals on the last day, and I got bumped out right at the end of the day, so that was pretty disappointing for sure. But anyway, like I said, second place in the Bassmaster point standings. Happy with that at this point. Just really have to focus on the next event at Lake Oneida. Never been up there either. Like I said, it's smallmouth, largemouth lake both, which is, you know, sort of, I like those northern lakes like that. So anyway, I'm going to give it a you know, a good try to keep, you know, moving up, you know, in the standings. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about this year, the whole reason, one of the big reasons about running this aluminum boat is, like I said, I got tired of the rat race, you know, people thinking you got to have $100,000 boats and $20,000 worth of electronics to compete. And if nothing else happens the rest of the year and I don't do any good, whether I do win the points, qualify for the leads, whatever, if I don't, it doesn't really matter. But these first two examples is an example. I'm fishing in probably the cheapest boat of anyone in the tournament. The boat I've got, it costs under $30,000. I have no down imaging, I have no side imaging. All I have is 2D and GPS on this particular boat. Boat runs 50 miles an hour. Like I said, it's affordable for everybody, and I'm within 5 points of leading the point standings on the Bassmaster Opens out of this rig. So it can be done, and you know, that's one of the things I wanted to encourage everybody that doesn't have a lot of money, is you don't have to have all this top of the line hundreds of $1,000s worth of equipment to compete. You can do it on, and I'm proving it with what I'm doing right now. So you know, don't get discouraged if you don't have it. Just, you know, do what you can with what you got, and you know, you can still succeed. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate it. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps us out here a lot. And we'll keep you updated. Got another tournament like a month from now, but we'll keep checking in with the videos here and then. So anyway, talk to y'all later. See you.